My name's Eric Hopkins, and welcome to the Jailcast. Welcome to the first ever movie news show. I'll be doing this weekly, and it's a show that will be going over all the news in the world of movies from the past week or so, just to give everybody, a little bit of insight as to the news that is going on in the world of movies and Hollywood. Without further ado, let's get started with today's news. To start off the news show, I'd like to go over the box office results for the weekend of December 2nd. The top five includes number one, Disney's Moana, which pulled in $28 million over the weekend for a grand total for the domestic box office at $119 million overall, and Moana's only been out for 2 weeks. Fantastic Beasts pulled in at number two, $18 million over the weekend for a grand total of $183 million in the United States in its third weekend. At the number third spot, Arrival pulled in $7.2 million over the weekend for a grand total of $73 million in its domestic run so far. At number four, Allied pulled in $7 million over the weekend for a grand total of $28 million in its U.S. run so far. And rounding out the top five is Marvel's Doctor Strange this weekend with $6.6 million for a grand total in the United States markets for $215 million domestically. What stands out to me most about this is Moana. A lot of people didn't know how this movie was going to be when it first was released, but apparently it's captured audiences by surprise, and it's very well received by critics and audiences alike. I've yet to see this film. I'm very much looking forward to it now, and I'm a fan of Dwayne Johnson anyway because I'm a pro wrestling fan. So I'm glad that to see him having all this success in his life as well as in his movie career, and now obviously crossing over into the animated world, which is something he before this film I don't believe he's ever tried before. So that's really cool to see him do. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Him. I plan on seeing that this weekend, and so you can stay tuned here for my review of that. Hopefully it'll be up on Friday or Saturday this weekend. And from what I hear, some fans are not really super thrilled with it. So I'm kind of hoping that I'll still enjoy it. And they're setting up a new world, so to speak. They're still playing in the Harry Potter universe, but they're trying to set up future films in this series as well. So I'm sure that caused a little bit of pacing issues, a little bit maybe even, and kind of maybe some people just want to get to the meat of the story, and you got to set it up before all that. So sometimes that makes the first film a little bit rocky. Arrival and Allied, none of these movies I've seen. I'm very much looking forward to seeing Arrival. I thought it looked very interesting, and the premise of it kind of caught my interest, I should say. Doctor Strange, obviously I've seen this movie. It deserves every cent of the $215 million domestic that it has gotten so far. It's a very well put together film. I'll also be doing a review for that probably in the next few days, so you can keep an eye out for that for my full thoughts on Doctor Strange. Our first story this week is about the new Alien Covenant poster that was released, and it offers one good piece of advice: run. I mean, look at this thing. This poster is, I mean, there's not much to it, but that's terrifying. That alien, that xenomorph, has always been a terrifying sight in cinema. It's iconic now. After the Alien movies struck fear in audiences way back in the late 70s, and just the visual of that alien creeps me out. Okay, I mean it's fun to watch and it's awesome, but the designers of that thing are genius. I'll tell you that right now. Along with the menacing poster, though, comes a new release date for Ridley Scott's latest film in the Alien franchise and the follow-up to Prometheus. Originally scheduled to hit theaters on August 4, 2017, Covenant will now be moved up 3 months to a release date of May 19, 2017. Moving the release date up for 3 months is only a good sign for a film. The fact that they have enough confidence in this movie to move it up from August to a May release shows that they want to hit that summer blockbuster season. August is more on the end of that, and that's kind of when audiences start to get a little, the attendance at the theaters start to go down a little bit in August and September. Those are kind of some slow months in the seasons. So this is only a good sign for Alien Covenant. That probably means they're on the right track, and I'm very much looking forward to this film. Fox has set new release dates for a few of its upcoming major films. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the studio has marked November 2nd, 2018 and February 14th, 2019 as the dates for two upcoming Marvel films. It's also set December 21st, 2018 as the date for an upcoming film from James Cameron production company Lightstorm Entertainment. While Fox didn't reveal titles, the December 2018 film is almost certainly the sequel to Avatar, which James Cameron has said in the past would debut in 2018. Cameron has also said in the past that 3 more Avatar films will follow Avatar 2 in 2020, 2022, and 2023. As for Marvel, the 2 new dates join 2 previously added spots for Marvel films, March 2nd, 2018 and June 29, 2018, one of which will likely be the sequel to Deadpool, which scored a new director earlier this month, as a matter of fact. Fox's Marvel rights include Fantastic Four and the X-Men series and spin-offs, including the upcoming New Mutants movie. Earlier this week, reports indicated that the X-Men series will be reconfigured in future films. In addition to adding dates, Fox has also removed an untitled Marvel film from its calendar that was set to debut on October 6, 2017. That date has been speculated to be reserved for Gambit for quite some time now, but that film has suffered multiple production delays, so it's likely been moved further down the road. In its place, Fox has moved Kingsman: The Golden Circle to October 6, 2017, back a few months from its original date of June 16th. Fox and Marvel. So what is it they're doing? It's very hard to tell right now. Fox wants to make this X-Men / Fantastic Four universe work for them. The problem with them is they never can seem to get their continuity in line with what they want to do. They keep jumping from timeline to timeline, character to character, and they don't have a cohesive storyline like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Star Wars or some of these other successful franchises have. They have a through line, but they kind of take place and certain movies don't match up with each other, and it sometimes just confuses audiences and makes no sense. When the story says that the X-Men films will be reconfigured in future films, I hope that means they'll eventually start doing things the Marvel or the Star Wars way, to where things are more cohesive and flow together and come together nicely. You would think that would be their plan. Now, when the X-Men franchise started back in 2000, obviously the Marvel Cinematic Universe didn't exist. So those types of films, they weren't planning that far ahead like today's movies do. So they were just looking at X-Men 1, then X-Men 2 X United, and then they were looking at X-Men The Last Stand. Then after that, they didn't really have a plan. And even for X-Men The Last Stand, they had a plan to some degree, but it didn't go the way they planned it, and it just kind of fell apart. And then they did the Wolverine Origins film, and I mean, don't get me started on that. I like it personally to some degree, but there's a lot of people who thought that film was horrible, and they just ruined Deadpool. Thank goodness Deadpool got redeemed in his movie. But anyway, I hope that it'll eventually get resolved, and I hope that they will finally get a story that will work, and they can continue to build and build and build instead of taking one step forward, 2 steps back, like they did with X-Men Days of Future Past. Great movie, and then they had X-Men Apocalypse, not so great movie. So hopefully they can start becoming more consistent in their filmmaking. Deadpool was great. Let's build off that, and let's hope that they'll get the ship corrected. This summer saw the release of Ghostbusters, a film that was controversial right out of the gate because it was opposed by an intense group of online fans. The reboot wasn't the hit that Sony was betting on, and the mixed critical response have left plans for a sequel incredibly unclear. Ivan Reitman, the director of the original 1984 film and a producer on the new reboot film, recently weighed in on Sony's game plan for the franchise, but those hoping for a direct sequel might be disappointed. In an interview with the Mr. Wavy podcast, Ivan Reitman was asked about the fate of the planned Ghostbusters sequel that was teased in the film's after-credit scene. Sony has kept any news and updates regarding a return to the Melissa McCarthy-led team locked tight, and Reitman wasn't much different. Reitman only spoke in the general statement in regards to Sony's plans for Ghostbusters, which is that they do have plans for Ghostbusters. He says, "There's going to be many other Ghostbusters movies, they're just in development right now." We need to be clear that Ivan Reitman does not explicitly hint at a sequel for the current franchise, only that there will be more Ghostbusters films. He doesn't seem to be referring to the Paul Feig-helmed film, but to Ghostbusters brand in general. That could mean anything from an entirely new Ghostbusters film with a new cast to a new television series. Sony is hoping to branch out of the Ghostbusters name in a big way, and they already have a new animated series in the works. They also set up Ghost Corps, a subsidiary production company whose sole responsibility is to develop new Ghostbusters-themed content. So yes, the brand of Ghostbusters is strong and the future is very bright. My opinion on a Ghostbusters sequel, or future movies, I why? I mean, fans hated this new Ghostbusters reboot so much. It was like drinking gasoline or something. Fans couldn't get the taste out of their mouth. They absolutely hated this. Even before the movie came out, they saw the trailers, and it's Sony's fault. The trailers were horrible. They only have themselves to blame for that. The horribleness of that trailer, they weren't funny. They were clearly they made you believe that this movie took place after the original Ghostbusters films, and then the movie itself was like, well, this is a reboot. Those movies never happened, and it kind of confused viewers, and it was a bad deal all the way around. So the planning of Ghostbusters, if they're going to continue to do more, needs to be more efficient, needs to be better, and more well handled. And I don't know if audiences are just going to care anymore. The originals with Bill Murray and that whole crew, those are beloved films, or at least the first one. The second one, not so much. But sometimes movies need to be left alone. Sometimes films do not need sequels or do not need to be remade, and it's just best to leave them alone and just enjoy the classic and just keep them as they are. New images for the upcoming Power Rangers movie has been revealed, highlighting Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa and her ordnance staff, as well as the new design for Alpha 5, who will be voiced by Saturday Night Live's Bill Hader. These two photos look incredibly different from the original 1990s Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TV series, but this film is going to be a different take and a reimagining of that film, so these designs are going to be different no matter how you slice it here. I like the design for Rita Repulsa. They kind of give off the hint here that there may be a Green Ranger storyline in here somewhere. The Green Ranger was in the original series, obviously. Now, I don't know how maybe that would play in the Rita Repulsa storyline of it all, but that's been heavily rumored among the internet here lately. As for Alpha 5, I think he looks great. It kind of has this World of Worlds, Steven Spielberg type, looking tentacle thing going on in his head. I don't know exactly what that's all about, but it's definitely alien looking. Obviously, not quite the tin can looking thing that they had on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers show, where he was like ay 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 ay, that whole crazy thing. I don't think he'll be that cheesy and corny. It'll probably more of a mysterious, alien, maybe speaking some foreign language type thing. I'm not sure, but he's definitely interesting looking. He looks like he's wearing a big sombrero, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, I think these designs are really interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the movie actually plays out with all these different takes. As for Bill Hader voicing Alpha 5, the Emmy-nominated actor also helped bring another robot to life as a vocal consultant, believe it or not. You may have heard of him. His name was BB-8 in The Force Awakens. Hader joins Elizabeth Banks and Bryan Cranston, who will be playing Zordon in the film. Bryan Cranston, obviously from Breaking Bad and the 2014 Godzilla movie. Power Rangers will be hitting theaters on March 24, 2017. In Star Wars news, hands down the most fan-requested Star Wars anthology film that Lucasfilm could possibly make would be an Ewan McGregor-led Obi-Wan Kenobi tale set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Sadly, Entertainment Weekly writer Anthony Breznican noted on a podcast that such a film won't begin development until after the sequel trilogy wraps up at the absolute earliest. But the good news is that there's a very important reason why they're waiting. In an interview with Rebel Force Radio, Anthony Breznican was quoted as saying, "I have heard rumors that the one reason they haven't moved sooner on Obi-Wan is that they're not done with Obi-Wan quite yet in the saga films. So I wouldn't be surprised to see an Obi-Wan thing happen beyond Episode 9. So there could be some truth to that whole fan theory of Rey somehow being Obi-Wan's granddaughter or grandniece. That remains to be seen, but the implication here is twofold. The first is that Obi-Wan might make a physical appearance in the rest of the sequel trilogy. And the second is that something directly related to Obi-Wan's past is brought up in the sequel trilogy, and that it would be impossible to overlook this detail in the Obi-Wan movie itself without opening up a can of worms in the continuity. Another interesting note is that in this interview, he refers to the sequel trilogy as the first trilogy. It could be that Anthony Breznican was just paraphrasing, but it may be possible that another trilogy is already in the early stages of planning. Whether or not it's a trilogy of episode 10, 11, and 12 remains to be seen, as there could always be a trilogy of movies set between the other movies. Still, it sounds like there could be plans for another long-term cinematic story instead of just doing a bunch of one-shot Star Wars spin-offs for the foreseeable future. In regards to an Obi-Wan standalone film, would I love to see it? Absolutely. I thought Ewan McGregor was one of the best parts of the prequel trilogy. I thought he nailed Obi-Wan Kenobi, especially in episodes 2 and 3. I thought he brought that Alec Guinness personality to it. He brought that subtle humor. He just brought the role to life. The young Obi-Wan was everything I dreamt him to be. I can totally understand if this movie, the episode 8 and 9, actually go into a little bit more of what happened with Obi-Wan in between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. I can see why they want to hold off on the Obi-Wan solo film for now. I would still love to see it. It's one of the Star Wars spin-off movies I'd love to see most. Boba Fett would be cool, and I've heard Yoda was kind of rumored there for a while. I don't know if we need those films as much. Don't be wrong, I'd be the first one in line to see both. But Obi-Wan would be great, and I know fans all over the place would love to see that film. In other Star Wars news, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy said that no matter how well Rogue One: A Star Wars Story performs at the box office, there won't be a sequel. Obviously. Because if you're a fan of the Star Wars movies at all, you realize the sequel is Episode 4: A New Hope. This does not look good for Jen Erso and the rest of her band of rebels that steal the plans for the Death Star. Obviously, at the beginning of Episode 4: A New Hope, Darth Vader is mad. Someone has taken the plans to the Death Star. He's choking people, he's throwing them around, he's yelling at stormtroopers, and there's a reason he's mad. Because they had lost their first galactic battle against the rebellion. So, obviously, I believe, personally, this is just my opinion, at the end of Rogue One, everybody going to die. Okay? I think that every good guy that is in Rogue One, dead. Jen Erso, dead. Her dad, dead. Cassian Andor, dead. The new droid, destroyed. I think Darth Vader in this film, if it was me, I would have him destroy everybody, take that red lightsaber out, and just chop guys left and right. Just knock them down. So, obviously, how else could it end? I mean, because where else are they in the timeline? I mean, I'm not saying we'll never see those characters again. Star Wars Rebels, if you are not watching that animated series on Disney XD, it is a very good show. It's set between episodes 3 and 4. There's a possibility that those characters could show up in that show or in novels or comic books. So I'm sure we won't see the last of Jen Erso and her crew. But yeah, for this film, there's no way there could be a Rogue 2. I don't see how that could happen. The poster for the Mummy movie starring Tom Cruise was released this week, as well as the trailer, which I did a trailer reaction for on this YouTube channel. I love the poster. It's very creepy. I'm looking forward to this film. Like I said, I don't believe it's going to be the cheesy version of the Brendan Fraser film series that they did before. This is going to be a little bit more creepy. For one, the Mummy is a woman this time around, so it'll be interesting to see how this film starts off the new Monsters universe that they're building over there at Universal Studios. A new promo poster was released for Thor Ragnarok this week. I love the colors in this thing. I mean, it does a great job of showing Thor wearing the iconic comic book helmet. Also shows the Hulk wearing his Planet Hulk battle armor and helmet as well, and it's very comic book looking. I believe Thor Ragnarok's going to be a little bit different film. I don't think it's going to be like Thor 1 and Thor 2. I believe it's going to be a little bit different. Marvel has already come out and said they kind of want to make this like the Captain America Winter Soldier. They want it to be more prominent in their timeline because Thor 2 was not received very well by a lot of audience members, and they want this one to be a major hit, I think. They want to knock this one out of the park, or so they say. So I believe they're going to put their best foot forward, and they've already got the cast to do it. That thing is star-studded. So it'll be interesting to see how that movie looks in November of 2017. The first full teaser trailer of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was released this week, and I did also a trailer reaction to that as well on the channel that you can find right here on the Jailcast. That trailer, Baby Groot stole the show. I've never seen a happier baby tree picking up an atomic bomb than I did Baby Groot. He was thrilled to have that thing and running off down the tunnel. Also, Drax the Destroyer, played by Dave Bautista, he stole that trailer at the very end of it, where he's laughing about how Peter Quill's deepest, darkest secret had been revealed that he's in love with Gamora. That was hilarious. The laugh that he gives and just his reaction to that secret being revealed was is hysterical. I lost it. So that movie, all the characters and the actors and actresses in that film have great chemistry together, and it's going to work out great. And I believe I speak for many other people who greatly anticipate that film. The Transformers The Last Night trailer dropped last night, as a matter of fact, and as always, the trailers look epic. There's plenty of explosions in it as before, but I'm not still very enthusiastic about this film. Michael Bay has shown that he does not have, in most films anyway, to show the ability to tell a good story. CGI and special effects, sure. Explosions, sure. Fights, sure. But with the Transformers series in particular, they're going to keep making these films regardless of how I feel about them or anybody else feels about them. Because let's be honest, Transformers Age of Extinction made over $1 billion worldwide. As long as these movies continue to make that kind of money, they will continue to be made no matter what. Because it is making the studios money. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about to the studios. So, I mean, they're entertaining enough for me. I love to watch them mainly to see stuff blow up. They're a good popcorn flick, but if you're expecting anything other than that from this trailer, I don't know what to tell you. The trailer wasn't even on par with some of the other Transformers trailers that they have done in the past. Some of the other trailers have been more, entertaining and more exciting, especially like the last trailer for Age of Extinction had the first appearance of Grimlock with Optimus Prime riding him with the sword in his hand. That was an epic shot. This trailer had Optimus Prime about ready to stab Bumblebee through the heart or the head. I don't know. I mean, as always, I'll give Transformers 5 a fair shot, like I try to do with every film. But I just know based on the track record, I'm not expecting a whole lot out of this film other than just some fun popcorn eating good times. So other than that, hopefully you'll enjoy it, and obviously enough people did. They bought the tickets, so we're going to keep getting more. They've got 3 more scheduled, so we're going to find out what happens. Warner Brothers and DC have finally released the official release date for Aquaman, and it will be released to the general public on October 5th, 2018. That film was originally didn't have a title for it at all, and I believe Aquaman was scheduled for July, I believe, of that year, June or July, and they pushed it back to October, which makes me wonder what they're going to do with that original date, because for that year they had The Flash planned, and then it lost its director is what happened, and then the Tomb Raider reboot took that date, so I don't know if The Flash is still going to be released on March 16th like Tomb Raider will be, or if they've moved it completely. BoxOfficeMojo.com has taken that date down for The Flash, so it's not on their list of upcoming films, but I do still expect The Flash to be released sometime that year. It's just that right now DC and their extended universe, their slate of films is not as set in stone as Marvel's is. So for now, we just don't know exactly what to expect is coming up in the future with them. We do know that they are planning, they will be releasing Wonder Woman next year on June 2nd. They will be releasing Justice League on November 17th. And then after that, the only confirmed film right now is Aquaman. But we do know they have plans for a Flash film, what else is there? Cyborg film, a Green Lantern film, a Justice League 2. So they've got plans for other films, but we just don't know set in stone yet. Marvel's got their films set in stone up through 2020 right now. DC is more playing it by the seat of their pants, feels like, and that's not always a good thing, but time will tell to see how that pans out for them. The How to Train Your Dragon 3 film has also been pushed back to March 1st, 2019. It was scheduled to be released in 2018 in May. That is a little concerning. It could just be because they want a little more time to flesh out the story. I have heard that this is going to be an emotional film that will tie up the story for the trilogy, and that could be one reason why they're doing it. They want to make sure they hit the right emotional beats for that. But other than that, it's probably not something to be too concerned about just yet. It's still on the docket to be released, so it will still be happening, and audiences will still get to see Hiccup and Toothless one more time. According to Variety, Amy Schumer is close to a deal with Mattel and Sony Pictures to star as Barbie in a film in which she gets kicked out of Barbie Land for not being perfect enough and lands in a real world adventure. It's a departure from the more referential animated Barbie movies of the past, but still meant to be a family flick with a planned PG rating. This is an interesting choice for casting, considering Amy Schumer. I mean, I believe she's a good comedic talent, but she's not obviously got the standard Hollywood body type. I mean, she's not like a supermodel type thing. I mean, I believe personally she's very cute, but they're going to play on this idea of body shaming in this film, and I don't know how that's going to work for a Barbie film. I mean, it'll probably have a story that has a resolution that teaches people that it's not right to shame people for being not having the perfect body, and that's a good message to send. Don't get me wrong. And now on to my quick flicks segment, where I'm going to rattle off some movie news here that I won't go into too much detail on them anymore, but these are just some quick items that I would like to get mentioned on the show. Tom Holland, who is playing Spider-Man in next year's Spider-Man Homecoming, is in negotiations to join Daisy Ridley from The Force Awakens in Lionsgate's post-apocalyptic thriller Chaos Walking. Doug Liman is directing the project, an adaptation of the best-selling YA novel by Patrick Ness. The story takes place in a world where all women have been killed by a germ, and all living creatures can hear one another's thoughts in a stream of images, words, and sounds called noise. Holland would star as a boy forced to flee his town with his loyal dog, who comes upon a strange sight: a girl played by Daisy Ridley. Tom Holland made his feature debut with 2012's tsunami drama The Impossible and made a splashy superhero debut as Peter Parker in this year's Captain America Civil War. Earlier this month, he signed on for a key role opposite Benedict Cumberbatch and Michael Shannon in the period drama The Current War. Critically speaking, Jason Bourne, the latest in the Bourne series from director Paul Greengrass and Matt Damon, wasn't a big success. But in Hollywood, money talks, and the movie definitely made money. So there is absolutely potential for a sequel. According to producer Frank Marshall, if they can manage to crack a story worth telling, a sequel to Jason Bourne is very much in the cards. Speaking with Yahoo Movies, Frank Marshall seemed very optimistic about the possibility of a sequel to Jason Bourne. He had conversations with both Matt Damon and Paul Greengrass, who were both happy with the results of the latest movie. So as long as a story is worth telling comes along, it should be a go. Jason Bourne, despite not garnering the critical acclaim that earlier installments of the franchise did, still managed to gross $415 million worldwide. That makes it the second highest grossing in the Bourne franchise to date, behind the Bourne Ultimatum, which made $442 million back in 2007. The difference being that the Bourne Ultimatum was received much better upon arrival. The movie currently holds a 93% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes with a 91% audience score. Jason Bourne, on the other hand, has a measly 56% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 59% audience score. At the very least, this latest movie was more divisive among fans of the franchise. Legendary Entertainment has set Rob Letterman to direct Detective Pikachu, the live-action film. Scripted by Nicole Perlman and Alec Hirsch, the project follows Detective Pikachu, a new character and storyline in the Pokemon universe. Legendary made the movie deal in July at the height of the Pokemon Go craze, in which followers accumulated pocket monsters through their phones by passing by locations. The movie covers a different aspect in the Pokemon universe. Letterman's credits include Monsters vs. Aliens, which he directed, and Shark Tale, which he wrote and directed. Well, it only took 27 years, but Lando Calrissian himself will finally get his chance to play Two-Face in Lego form. Good enough for me. During an exchange with a fan on Twitter, director Chris McKay of the Lego Batman movie revealed that Billy Dee Williams is going to be voicing Harvey Dent in the upcoming Lego Batman movie, a movie that is already doing all it can to look amazing. It's a role he hasn't played since 1989's Batman and is sure to make the fans wishing they could forget the Joel Schumacher's films very happy. This is a big deal for fans of Tim Burton's original Batman films. Williams played District Attorney Harvey Dent back in 1989 at a time when race-bending characters wasn't done across the board. Though he only had one picture deal with Warner Brothers, Billy Dee Williams had hoped to play Two-Face in the third film in the series, Batman Forever. However, when Joel Schumacher took over as director, the role went to Tommy Lee Jones, and despite Jones being one of the best actors working in the 1990s, that performance was, okay. Very Riddler-like, or Joker-like for that matter. But this history is already a part of why the Lego Batman movie looks so special. The trailers have done much to send up the Batman movie's many flaws, but From Bruce Wayne's incessant brooding to his bat nipples, much maligned face-off with Superman just this year, having winking fun at the character, especially since the last truly good Batman film came out in 2008's The Dark Knight. Alright, this week opening in theaters is Office Christmas Party. It is a upcoming American Christmas comedy film directed by Josh Gordon and Will Speck and written by Justin Malin and Laura Salome. Based on a story by John Lucas and Scott Moore. The film stars Jason Bateman, Olivia Munn, T.J. Miller, Jillian Bell, Courtney B. Vance, Kate McKinnon, Randall Park, and Jennifer Aniston, and will be released on December 9th, this Friday, by Paramount Pictures. The synopsis of the film states when Zenoic CEO Carol Vanstone, played by Jennifer Aniston, tries to close the branch of her hard-partying brother Clay, played by T.J. Miller, he and his chief technical officer must rally their co-workers and host an epic office Christmas party in an effort to impress a potential client and close a sale that will save their jobs. For more information about what's coming soon to theaters in the next 4 to 5 or 6 years, be sure to check out my movie release show that I did the other day. It is a good video that tells you all the confirmed movies coming down from all the major movie studios in the next few years. It's a great watch, and I highly recommend you take a look at it. Well, there you have it, everybody. That's it for the very first movie news show on the Gelcast. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and even share this video if you want to. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, God bless.